Guys, welcome back to the channel. We are still working on the F100, as you can see behind me. This week we've got a number of jobs to complete. We've got to finish off some power steering, we've got some electrics to do, and we've got some more components to take out of the truck. But we are going to answer one of the big questions this week, and that is, did someone really shoot my F100? So, as you can see, we've got two bullet holes. I'm calling them bullet holes at the moment, but what we're going to do today is we're going to take off the panel on the inside and just see what the inside looks like and see if we can work out if somebody has actually shot my F100. Last week we did have an issue with the new power steering motor in that the original steering shaft would not fit into the coupler that was provided. So after much digging and much failure in finding a machine shop in Manchester and the surrounding areas, we've actually found a company down south, which I'll link below and hopefully on the video somewhere in front of you at the moment, that is going to take the original shaft and build me a new shaft that will fit the coupler and work in the truck. Now the good thing about that is I can keep the original shaft, so if anyone ever wants to take this back to manual steering, we can do. So first job now is to package all this up and get it shipped. Okay, that looks good. So we'll get that off to well, the shipper. Not sure who we're going to send it with yet, but we'll sort that later this afternoon. Next job. In other news, Summit Racing, you bunch of legends, have sent the missing pipes, or missing hoses, should I say, for the brakes. So we now have a complete brake set, which is pretty awesome. They sent that obviously all the way from the US. So yeah, thank you, Summit. So first thing we need to do today is we just need to crimp the cable that's going to power the fuse box from the engine bay. So this is going to be hooked up to the power that comes out of the battery. It goes to the starter, and then from the starter up to the fuse box. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is just strip off the end of this cable. Voila. Just going to put some heat shrink over here because we'll shrink that to the connector shortly. Then we'll pop the connector in. And then awkwardly, I really need a get that in the right spot. That down. That's a nice solid connection. So then pop that over the edge. There we go. Nice connection. Heat shrinks up as well.
Many hours later.
Okay, welcome to the engine bay of the F100. We've done a fair bit of work now on sort of adjusting some of the cabling from the engine bay into the cab. Now you'll remember last time the cab already had wires in, but I wasn't sort of sure what the grade was or the gauge was of the cables coming in, so I've looked to replace a couple of them and reroute them, and that's what we've done now. So if we flip you around, cool. So in here now, we've got our ignition here, which obviously cables run round under, and then we've got our alternator at the front here. The starter is just underneath. You can just see the cables peeking through. I didn't tie them up a little bit down there, but that'll be done later. And then obviously we've got a fan here. Now that is pretty much the extent of the electronics in here. The only update to that will be when the power steering comes in, and there'll be a cable running across just to power that. But them cables then for the fan, the ignition, the starter, and the power for the fuse box, which you can just see peeking in here, come down under the arch, peek out here, and you can see we've just sort of loomed them up, and they just pop up into the cab. Let's bring you around. God, you see the mess? There's the bit you don't see. I need to get better at keeping things tidy. And then we come in here to grab a light. We've got the different cables now all coming in. So we've got this much larger grade cable. I think this is an 8 gauge, which should be plenty for this truck. There's not a lot of electronics on it. But I just wanted to, like say, make sure that we had top capacity should we need it. We've then got fan here, so we've got a positive and negative for the fan. We've got that's the ignition coils. We've got the starter there, and then we've got the fan temperature sensor. So that is all ready to go now. It's ready for a fuse box. It's ready for fuse box switches, etc., which is good. The other thing that I've done is, I'll just come over here, you'll be able to see here that I've taken off there was originally a radio here which has been taken out, so we can start to look at how this dash is going to configure itself. I'll post a video of that now. Okay, just a quick video tonight just to take out this radio. So first thing we need to do, just pop these knobs off. It should pop off on both sides. This just prizes out as well. Let's get a flat screwdriver. Just a little bit of persuasion. And then behind there should be 2 Phillips screws. One here and one here. So then, again, a little bit of persuasion. It's been here for a very long time. We should think that one's come off. This one is come out with the screw. That's fine, we can sort that out afterwards. Brilliant. And then we should be able, if I've got the right socket here, just spin these off. That one's loose. Supposed to come off with it. Just get a socket. Perfect. Plate should come out. Then the radio should drop down. Lovely. Let's just see if this will come out. There we go, aerial out. Voila, on 1965 radio. Incredible. So excuse the messy desk, but this was the radio that I pulled out. Relatively straightforward to sort of come out. These sort of knobs pull out. And then there's just 2 bolts on the side, which this plate holds the whole thing in place behind the dash. As you can see, once again, covered in dust. I do wonder if this still works. We might try and find a way to test it out. Got an aerial input. The aerial's still in the car, and that's all in place. And I guess this is the power in on this side. But we do need to give it a good look over. There is on the bottom of it, it does say, so it's got there and install date. I wonder if that actually translates to, if there's something missing underneath here, or if that translates to when this was actually installed. But I will have a look and see if that matches the year of the truck as well. But yeah, just thought I'd show you that. That's the radio that came out. Then we are back on the driver's side, so the left side, being an American. I've taken out these switches here and here, just having a bit of a nightmare getting the light one out, but we'll give that a go again in a second. These were all relatively straightforward, but again, someone might use these. I've got no use for these on this particular truck. It's just not the style that we're going for. Today as well, or yesterday, I've ordered, so we've got the bezel still, obviously sits in there. I've also got gauges, now digital gauge that's coming in the middle, again, which should just give us all the readings that we actually need, which is good. So my next decision-making process is how I'm going to lay the truck out with the switches and dials that I want to use. I have left the choke cable in because, like I say, I do want to install the choke, and I am kind of convinced that this choke cable may actually be long enough to reach the carb. So we might look at that as a separate job. I have bought a additional one as well, but it just seems logical to keep that in place. But again, not 100%. So when we get the choke cable out, we can look and see what sort of switch comes with it, and if it's better, we can use this slot here. So I need to decide now where the switches are going, where the starter's going, where the ignition's going, and where the relevant kind of toggle switches are going to go. I know I had this idea originally of the box down here, kind of gone off that a little bit, just for simplicity, because I've got all these gaps and spaces, particularly in the centre here, and I think the centre makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to look at how we can fit them in here. This is not a restoration in terms of keeping this original. That's not the intent. This has got a racy style to it. I think like I say, the original owner's intent was more of a drag truck, and I'm going to continue with that. So I'm not too worried about cutting and welding and doing little bits and pieces on the actual cab itself. So that's what we'll do next. But first, I do need to answer that big question. And I think over here, as you can see, we're going to take that panel off, and we're going to see about them potential bullet holes on the other side and just see what's in there. And I think we'll get this trim off as well, just again, because this is all going to need replacing. So all this trim just there, monkey fingers. We're going to get all that off on both sides as well, because we need to just take it off. So let's get to it. There's a lot of glue in here. Someone's obviously glued this in. I think we're going to have to just replace the clips that are on. Yeah, they have been seriously butchered on. But the other thing as well, we could just look whether we're going to actually put the trim back on, or we're just going to fix the interior door. Again, more decisions to make. But let's just get this off. I think these are supposed to bend, but they're so brittle that as soon as you bend them one direction, snap off, which is no good. So we will look to do something with that as well. Now we do need to take something else holding this in, or is it just, oh no, it's coming, it's just, there we go, it's just not been off since it's probably built. Awesome. all these for? Oh, these will all be the bolts for the mechanics behind. Interesting. I'm going to pop these back on so that we can still open the window indoors. Okay, so that's off now, which is good. I'm going to have to scrape all this off, and then I think, again, just decide whether we just rub this down and paint it, which I think is probably the best option, really. I don't think we need the door cards necessarily in there. Yeah, need to get some new seals as well for the windows, but these are all just extras towards the end. Let's get it running first. So let's have a look. So as I said before, I'll just show you again. We've got two interesting holes here, or one hole and one dent. That one hasn't actually fully gone through, but this one has. So we're just going to have a quick look inside and just see if we can work out if, or let's see what actually has hit that. And handily, we've got this nice panel here just to take off. So let's have a look. Feels like an absolute secret compartment, this. You imagine there's a cover over there, you wouldn't even know it was there. You could store anything in there. Oh wow, okay. So, okay, good news, the door's pretty solid. Lots of surface rust on it. But yeah. But again, nothing, no major holes, which is good. So it just needs a good scrub and clean up. However, there is an awful lot of, you can see it falling out the bottom if it's in shot. But what we came here to see was these two holes there. They are definitely bullet holes. I'll get you zoomed in a second. So I wonder if that one's come through there. There's nothing on the other side. What are the chances? No, so it doesn't look like we've got the actual bullet in here still, if it is a bullet hole. Looks like a little 22, but I'll get you in. We can see. So this one is the one from the other side, and you can see that shape there. Someone's definitely shot this. And then this one, same thing again. You've got that ridge on the inside, which is definitely something come through, but it's not made it to this side. So yes, it's not made it through to this panel. So it probably did fall down in here if it was shot at some point, but there's nothing in there now. I don't know if you'll be able to see much in here. Just try and get you zoomed out. You can see here that it's just full of cement. All of this is just surface paint rust. There's no actual holes or anything like that, so again we can get that all covered up. Okay, so I think I'm going to say, whether it's true or not, someone shot my F100 at some point in its life. Again, just one of the many stories that I think this truck will have, which is kind of fascinating, interesting, and obviously I don't think I'll ever find the answer of kind of who owned this truck and what its life was. But it's certainly lived a life, because you can see inside just how used it is really, but how solid it is as well. So someone definitely shot the F100, but unfortunately no bullet evidence remains. Now, quick vacuum, get rid of all the stuff inside there, and then when we get it outside, we will we'll look to get some rust converter inside there and just sort of wire wool it all down, get it nice and tidy. But first, let's get it hoovered. Help if you turn it on. Starting to think this truck had a life by the sea. There's just sand everywhere. So I don't know if it's sand or cement building stuff, but it's certainly in every crevice of it. Yeah. But the door itself is solid, so that was the main check. So we just need to do the same thing on the other side now, which should take 10-15 minutes. We'll go and do that, and let's see where we're at. Oh, hi. Now this has got new bolts on it, so someone's replaced some of these. It's got it's missing a bolt here and here and here, so this one might have had some oh yeah, it's all sealed as well. Interesting. Let's have a look. Okay, so looks like the previous owner, when he did the installation inside here, has insulated this side much heavier on there. I guess because this is the driver's side, so this is where you're going to get all the noise. But should probably do the same thing on the other side when we get time. Aha. So on the other side, and again I'll grab a picture in a second, there's a rubber seal that sits underneath, and inside here there's sort of that look like bolts, but they're not. They're like rubber, kind of just pointing upwards all the way across. The other side has one, this one doesn't, which again probably help with noise and stuff, so I'll see if we can find a replica of them, because that'll just be something else to bring up to speed. But again, loads of sand inside, nice and solid. Oh, maybe a slight, oh yeah, no, we do have some daylight, so we've got a slight hole on the, yeah, so we've got a rusted out hole on one side here. It's not major, but that's obviously where the water gets in, sits at the bottom and just kind of rusted out. Now I expected to see it a lot worse, to be fair, so it's just that one side, which is good, so we'll have to look at getting that welded up at some point. But let's get this done. Cool, so it's a bit more malleable on this side, but again they just need to come off, and we'll have to figure out a way to I think they'd like a putty or something on, but you can see the clip there, so I'll just come around so I can make sure. But yeah, so that end there just pushes into the door and obviously expands and holds it in place, and then the trim is just captured between these two components, but a bit brittle. Again, I'm guessing you can buy lots of replacements. that's actually the right way to get it out, is to actually pop these clips out, not to unfold them. But the problem is the top set here, and on the same on the other side, they look like they've been kind of like glued in. So someone wasn't happy with the clips, and they've been glued as well. So yeah, but that would make sense because that's why that piece has come off a lot easier than the last one. We have taken out all of that now. Job done for today. Guys, thank you for watching the video. Once again, please like and subscribe, as it really does help the channel grow. And we'll be back next week where we'll be looking at switches, dials and more electrics. And who knows, maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll get this thing started.